My name is Mia, and I am in love with the man who raised me. I know how wrong that sounds. Every time I say it in my head, I feel shame burn my throat, but the words are still true. I loved him in silence for years, like a secret I was not allowed to touch. Now I am standing by his hospital bed, his skin pale, his breathing slow, and I am afraid that I will never be able to tell him. The machines beep in a cold rhythm, like a slow, cruel clock. His hand is on the white sheet, still strong, even now. I used to hold that hand when I was a scared girl who had just lost everything. Now I want to hold it as a woman who lost her heart to the man who saved her. But I do nothing. I stand there and pretend to be what the world says I am to him. Just the girl he took in. Just the responsibility he carried. Just the person he raised. I want to scream. I am more than that to you, but the words die inside my chest. The nurse walks in and smiles at me like I am family, like I am his daughter. "Are you okay?" she asks softly. "You've been here all day." I nod because it is easier than explaining that I am not okay and I have not been okay for a long time. She checks the monitors, writes something on a small chart, and leaves us alone again. The room is quiet, but inside me there is a storm. I look at his face, lines of worry cut across his forehead. His brown hair has more gray in it now. His beard is short, because he never liked to let it grow too much. I remember how he would shave in the small bathroom of our old apartment, humming some sad song from the radio. Back then I would stand at the door and watch his reflection. He would see me in the mirror and say, "You're up early, kid." I hated that word. Kid, but I never said anything. Because I was afraid he would stop looking at me with those soft, tired eyes. Now, in this hospital room, he is not humming. He is not calling me kid. He is silent. And I am the one who wants to talk and talk and talk. I pull the chair closer to his bed and sit down. The metal legs of the chair scratch the floor and I wince at the sound, afraid I will wake him, afraid I will not. "Hey," I whisper, even though his eyes are closed. My voice sounds small. "I'm here. I always am." I do not know when I started to be afraid of a world without him. Maybe it was the first time he came home late and I imagined a car crash, a call from the police, my heart breaking. Maybe it was the day I understood that he could leave me, like everyone else had before him. Maybe it was the day I realized I did not just need him. I wanted him. Not like a father, not like a guardian, like a man. I bite my lip as the thought passes through me like a sin. My stomach tightens with guilt and longing at the same time. I never asked for this kind of love. I never planned to feel it. It grew slowly, like ivy on an old wall, climbing over every part of me until I could not see myself without it. I rest my elbows on my knees and hold my face in my hands for a moment. I am so tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of smiling at people who say, "He did so much for you. You must be so grateful." They do not know that gratitude and love can live in the same space, but they cut you in different ways. I lift my head and look at him again. His chest rises and falls under the thin blanket. He looks peaceful, but I know him well enough to see the tension at the edge of his jaw. He is fighting, even in his sleep. He always fights. He fought when he found me crying on the steps of the social services building. He fought when he signed the papers to take me home. He fought for a better job, a better place, a better life. He fought against his own loneliness even when he never talked about it. And I fought for him too, but in silence. I fought my feelings every day, trying to push them into a dark corner of my heart where no one could see. But they always came back stronger. I reach out, my fingers just a breath away from his hand. I stop. I do not know if I have the right to touch him the way I want to. To him, I am still the girl he took in, the girl he raised, the life he fixed. He never asked to be the center of my world. He just tried to give me a home. "I'm scared," I whisper, and my voice cracks. "I'm scared you'll leave, and I never told you who you really are to me." The memory of the call from the hospital hits me again. It was early morning. I was in the small kitchen of my tiny apartment, making cheap coffee, when my phone rang. The screen showed an unknown number and my heart sank before I even answered. "Is this Mia Lane?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes," I said, already holding my breath. "I'm calling from the hospital," she continued. You're listed as the emergency contact for a man named Caleb Stone. His name felt heavy in my ears. For a moment I could not speak. Emergency contact. Of all the words in the world, those were the ones that broke me the most. He had put my name down, not his daughter, not his wife. Not as anything with a clear label, just as the person they should call if something happened. That was enough to send me running out of my apartment, my heart in my throat. My hands shaking so much that I almost dropped my keys 3 times before getting out the door. Now, hours later, after doctors and nurses and long corridors with white lights, I am finally here with him. I close my eyes for a second and see the past like a movie. The first night in his apartment, the smell of old books and cheap soap, the worn-out couch where I slept because I was too afraid to use the bed he prepared for me. The way he stood in the doorway and said, "You're safe here, Mia, I promise." I had heard that word before, promise, from people who left, from people who broke me, but when he said it, something inside me decided to believe one more time. I did not know then that this man would keep his promise so strong that it would hurt both of us in the end. I open my eyes and look at him again. "Do you remember that night?" I ask softly, even though he is not awake. My hands were shaking so much I could not eat the food you gave me. You sat on the floor, far from me, like you were afraid to scare me. You didn't touch me. You didn't ask questions. You just stayed. My voice trembles. You always stayed. I feel a hot tear run down my face, and I wipe it quickly as if someone could see my weakness. There is no one here but him, and still I hide my feelings like I always did. I want to tell him everything. That the way he laughed the first time he burned the toast made my chest feel warm. That the way he said my name, low and calm, made me feel safe and nervous at the same time. That I started to notice the veins on his hands, the line of his shoulders, the way his eyes softened when he looked at me. That one day I woke up and realized I was not looking at him like a father at all. I was looking at him like a woman looks at a man she cannot have. My heart beats faster just thinking it, even here in the quiet hospital room. I lean closer, my lips near his ear, my voice still a whisper. "Caleb," I say his name slowly, tasting it like a secret. "I know I'm not supposed to love you like this." The words hang in the air between us, invisible but heavy. I tried to stop, I confess. I tried to move away, to find other people, other lives. But somehow I always came back to you. A soft sound escapes his throat, something between a sigh and a groan, and for a moment, my heart jumps. His eyelids move just a little. I freeze, half afraid he heard me, half desperate that he did. If he wakes up now, if he opens his eyes and looks at me and asks what I just said, what will I do? Will I lie like I always did? Or will I finally tell the truth that has been killing me in silence? My hands grip the edge of the chair. The monitors keep beeping. Outside the window, I can see the city moving, cars passing, people walking, lives continuing as if nothing is breaking in this small room. I take a slow, shaky breath. "I need you to live," I whisper, "even if you never know the whole story. Even if you never know how I really feel." Another tear falls, then another. I do not bother to wipe them this time. They are the only honest thing on my face right now. Because the truth is simple and cruel. I loved the man who raised me in silence. And now, with his life hanging by a fragile thread, silence might steal him from me forever. I bring my hand closer again, closer than before, until my fingers finally touch his. His skin is warm. The contact sends a shock through me, as if I touch fire. For a second, I let myself pretend that I am allowed to hold him like this. That I am allowed to be more than the girl he saved. Just for 1 second. Then his fingers move, just a little, curling weakly around mine. My breath catches in my throat. His lips part. "Mia," he murmurs, barely more than air. Lean in, my heart pounding so loud I cannot hear the machines anymore. I do not know if he is awake, if he is dreaming, if he is somewhere between the two. But he said my name. And in that fragile, broken sound, I hear the beginning of everything I have tried to hide. His voice was so faint that I almost thought I imagined it. That single word, my name, slips into me like light into a locked room. For a moment, everything inside me goes still. I am afraid to breathe, afraid that if I move too fast, the moment will shatter like glass. His fingers are still weakly curled around mine, and I hold my breath as his lips part again. But nothing else comes out. No full sentence, no clear thought, just silence. The same silence that always hid the truth between us. I lift my head slowly, studying his face. His eyes are still closed, his expression soft but strained, like someone fighting a dream they cannot wake from. Maybe he is dreaming of me. Maybe he is dreaming of something else entirely. I do not know. Caleb. I'm here, I whisper, unable to stop myself from saying his name again. I say it softly, like a confession, like a prayer I'm afraid to speak too loud. His hand twitches in mine. Not a strong movement, barely anything at all, but enough to make my heart race. Enough to make me believe that somewhere inside that quiet, he can still hear me. I lean back in the chair because my legs feel too weak to hold me. The fear inside me has changed shape. It is no longer fear of losing him. It is fear that he might wake and not remember me. Fear that he might look at me with unfamiliar eyes. Fear that the distance I always felt between us will become permanent. I look at the small machines beside him. The numbers go up and down in calm, controlled waves. Stable. But not safe. Not yet. The doctor told me he collapsed at work, alone in an empty hallway. They said he had been under too much stress, pushing his body too far, ignoring the signs. That sounds like him. Always caring too much. Always trying to be stronger than he needed to be. He never asked for help. Not once. Even when life hit him harder than he admitted. I remember the day he came home with bruised knuckles and a cut on his cheek. I was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework, and he walked in pretending everything was fine. But when he reached for his jacket, his hand trembled. Just a little, but I saw it. I stood up without thinking and asked, "What happened to you?" He froze, surprised by the question. He always tried to hide anything that might worry me. "Nothing," he answered, but his voice was too calm, too controlled, and I knew it wasn't true. I stepped closer, and he stepped back. He didn't want me close then. Not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. He never wanted me to see him weak. But I kept going until I was right in front of him. I touched the edge of the cut on his cheek, my fingers shaking. He inhaled sharply, not in pain, but in shock. "It's okay," I whispered. "You don't have to pretend with me." He looked at me for a long moment before closing his eyes. Only then did he breathe out. Only then did he let the truth slip out. "I had a bad day, that's all," he said softly. "It won't happen again." But it did. Life kept hurting him, and he kept hiding it. And I kept watching, loving him in ways I tried to deny. Now, looking at him lying in this hospital bed, I wish I could go back to that moment. I wish I had told him then what I felt growing inside me. I wish I had stopped pretending too. I lift our joined hands slightly, feeling the warmth of his skin. I bring his hand close to my face, letting my forehead rest against the back of it. "I'm sorry," I whisper against his skin. "I'm sorry I never said anything." My voice is so soft that even I can barely hear it. But the words feel like a release, like air leaving a room that has been locked for too long. "I thought I had more time," I continue. "I thought you would always be there, always steady, always strong." Another wave of emotion rises inside me, thick and heavy. I swallow hard. I didn't want to ruin what we had, I confess. I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want you to think I was ungrateful. That word hurts. Ungrateful. Because that is how I feared he would see me. Like someone who took his kindness and twisted it into something it was never meant to be. But my heart never asked for permission. It just happened. It just grew. It just loved him. A soft beep changes rhythm on one of the monitors, and my head snaps up, panic rushing through me. But a moment later, the sound returns to normal, steady, and controlled. I let out a shaky breath I didn't know I was holding. I look at his face again. Even in sleep, even hurt, he is the most familiar part of my world. The shape of his nose, the curve of his jaw, the way his hair always falls slightly to the left. Details I memorized without meaning to, the way someone memorizes the lines of a poem they heard too many times. I remember standing at the kitchen counter one night, washing dishes while he cooked pasta behind me. He was always terrible at cooking, but he tried because he wanted to do something good for me. He dropped a spoon, cursed softly, and I laughed. He looked at me then, really looked at me. Not with the eyes of a guardian or a protector, but with something warm and confused, something that scared both of us. I felt it like a spark between us, unexpected and dangerous. I turned away quickly, pretending I didn't feel anything. He cleared his throat and muttered something about the sauce. We never talked about that moment again. But I thought about it every night, every time I saw him smile, every time I heard his footsteps in the hallway, every time he said my name. Now I wonder if he felt it too, if he knew. He stayed silent because he was afraid of breaking something fragile, or because he cared in a way he didn't know how to handle. I slid my chair even closer, my knees touching the edge of his bed. "Caleb," I whisper again, my thumb brushing the side of his hand. "You don't have to fight alone this time." For a moment, nothing happens. Just the steady sound of the machines and the soft hum of hospital air. Then his eyelids flutter, slowly, weakly, like someone trying to wake from a dream they are not ready to leave. "Mia." He breathes again, barely louder than before. My heart stops. I lean forward, afraid, hopeful, shaking. His lips move, forming words with effort. Words I have waited my whole life to hear. But no sound comes out, just a small exhale, like a promise stuck in his throat. I squeeze his hand gently. "I'm right here," I say, hoping my voice reaches wherever he is. For a second, his fingers tighten around mine. Not much, just enough to let me know that he is still fighting, still holding on. "Still here with me?" I feel the tears coming again, but this time I don't hold them back. They fall silently onto our joined hands, warm and uncontrolled. "I need you to wake up," I whisper, "because I can't keep living with all the words I never said." His breath catches in his chest, uneven and strained, and for a moment I think he is waking. But then the monitor beside him changes rhythm again, sharp and fast. I gasp, clutching his hand. "Caleb?" The door bursts open, and a nurse rushes inside. Her expression shifts the moment she sees the numbers on the screen. "Call the doctor now," she shouts to someone in the hallway. My heart slams against my ribs. I try to move back, but my hand is still caught in his. "Mia, you need to step away," the nurse says as she reaches the bed. But I cannot move, I cannot breathe. I cannot lose him now, not now. His fingers twitch once more, weak and trembling, and then his grip loosens. "Caleb, please stay with me," I whisper, my voice breaking as the room fills with rushing footsteps. The last thing I see before they pull me back is his chest rising once, then falling, too slow, too shallow, too fragile. And I realize I am standing at the edge of the moment I feared my whole life. The moment they pull me away from him, something inside me breaks. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet, like a paper tearing, like a breath stopping halfway. A kind of pain that does not scream, but sinks. The nurse guides me back, her hands firm but gentle on my shoulders, but I barely feel her. My eyes are locked on him as more people rush in. The doctor, another nurse, someone pushing a cart with instruments that look cold and merciless. They speak in fast, sharp voices, words I cannot understand. Numbers, commands, medical terms that make the world spin. I try to move closer, but the same nurse steps in front of me, blocking the way. "Please, stay back for a moment," she says. A moment? How can she say that when this moment might be the last he ever has? My breath turns shallow, my palms sweat. My heart beats so fast it hurts. He lies there, unmoving, and the light above his bed paints his skin in a pale, almost unreal glow. It feels like watching a nightmare from behind, glass close enough to hurt, too far to stop. I wrap my arms around myself, trying to keep my shaking under control, but it doesn't work. I whisper his name under my breath again and again. "Caleb, Caleb, please." The doctor presses something on a machine. The sound changes, short beeps, rapid beeps, each one stabbing through my chest. "What's happening?" I manage to ask, my voice cracking, but no one answers. They're all too busy trying to keep him alive, trying to bring him back to me. I feel useless, powerless, like I am made of air and fear instead of bones and flesh. Just hours ago, I thought the worst thing in the world was not telling him the truth. Now I realize I might never get the chance. I press my back against the wall and close my eyes for a moment. A memory rises, uninvited and sharp. The day he taught me how to tie my shoes. I was 7. My hands were small and clumsy, my laces tangled in messy knots that made me cry in frustration. He sat next to me on the old carpet, his knees bent, his voice gentle. "Hey," he said softly, lifting my chin with one finger. "It's okay to mess up. Everybody starts somewhere." Then he took my shoe in his hand and walked me through the loops, the pull, the knot, patiently, calmly, as if he had all the time in the world. When I finally tied it right, he smiled at me. A real smile, rare, warm, soft around the edges. "You did it," he whispered. "See? You can do hard things." I look at him now, lying in that bed, and the memory shatters me, because this is the hardest thing I've ever faced. And I cannot do it, not without him. The doctor speaks again, louder this time. Something about stabilizing him. Something about levels and pressure and response. I don't care about the words. I care about the way his chest rises. Faint, shallow, too weak. I step forward again despite the nurse's hand on my arm. "I need to be here," I whisper, and for a moment she hesitates. Maybe she sees something in my face. Fear, love, desperation. Maybe she understands I am not going anywhere. She lets me stand a little closer, not too close, but enough that I can see the rise and fall of his breath more clearly. Enough that I can whisper to him without shouting. "Please don't leave," I breathe. "I'm not ready. Not ready to live in a world where you're not in it." The doctor moves aside for a moment, and through the gap I can see a clearer view of Caleb's face. His eyelids flicker. His mouth opens slightly. A broken sound escapes him, something soft and pained. "Mia." It's barely a whisper, barely real, but it reaches me like lightning. I step forward instinctively. The nurse tries to stop me, but the doctor lifts his hand, not at me, but as if giving permission for a single moment. Maybe he thinks it will calm Caleb down. Maybe he thinks it will help. Maybe he doesn't know that this is the moment my entire life has been waiting for. I take another step, close enough to see the uneven movement of his lips. Close enough to feel the heat coming off his skin. I kneel beside the bed because my legs no longer trust me to stand. My hand comes up, trembling, but I don't touch him yet. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to distract the doctors. I don't want to make it worse. "Mia," he breathes again, and this time his voice cracks like something inside him is trying to break free. "I'm here," I whisper. "I'm right here, Caleb." He exhales shakily, and I watch the way his chest rises again, weak but alive. Alive. That is enough. For now, that is enough. Then the doctor steps forward again, blocking my view, speaking quickly to the nurses. They adjust machines, move equipment, shift wires. The room becomes a storm of motion. The nurse touches my shoulder again. "We need a little more space," she says, but her voice is gentler now, more understanding, more human. I step back reluctantly, my eyes never leaving him, my fingers curling against my palms to keep myself from falling apart. I can't lose him. I can't. Another memory hits me, one I tried to bury a long time ago. I was 16. The age where everything feels too big, too sharp, too dangerous. I had failed a test at school and convinced myself that he would be disappointed. That he would decide I wasn't worth the trouble. That he would give up on me like so many others had. I sat on the floor of my bedroom, shaking, tears running down my face. He knocked on the door softly. "Mia? You didn't come for dinner." I didn't answer. I didn't want him to hear my crying. But he opened the door anyway when I didn't respond. He knelt beside me, his voice soft and careful. "What's wrong?" I pushed the test paper toward him with trembling fingers. "I messed up," I whispered. "You're going to send me back. I know you are." His face changed, not with anger, but with pain. He took the paper, set it aside, and held my face in his hands. "You listen to me," he said quietly. "I will never send you away. Ever. You hear me?" My tears came harder then, and he pulled me against his chest. It was the first time he ever held me like that. The first time I felt what safety really meant. "I'm not going anywhere," he whispered into my hair. "I promise." Now, watching him fight for his life, those words echo inside me like a cruel, broken promise. The doctor finally steps back from the bed. Everyone goes still. The beeping steadies. The air shifts. His levels are stabilizing, the doctor says, and I almost collapse with relief. I cover my mouth with both hands. I feel my knees weaken. I feel the world tilt. He's not safe. Not yet, but he's here. Still here. The doctor looks at me. You can sit with him again, he says gently. Just be careful. He needs rest. His body is still very weak. I nod quickly, unable to speak. My throat is too tight. My heart is too full. I return to the chair beside his bed and slowly, cautiously take his hand in mine again. His skin is warm. His fingers relaxed but not limp. Alive. I rest my forehead against our joined hands and breathe out the fear that has been choking me. You scared me, I whisper. You really scared me. His breathing evens out slowly. He doesn't speak again. But this time when his hand shifts, it is not weakness, it is choice. He curls his fingers around mine, soft but sure, like someone reaching for home in the dark. I lift my head slightly, my voice barely a breath. Caleb, I need to tell you something. But the words stop in my throat. Because I know that once I say them, nothing will ever be the same again. I open my mouth, ready to speak the truth I have held for years, but the words freeze on my tongue. I look at him, his fragile breathing, his pale skin, the way his hand rests inside mine, and fear coils around my chest like a cold hand. What if the truth hurts him? What if it pushes him away? What if he wakes up and sees me differently? Not as the girl he cared for, not as someone he trusted, but as someone who crossed a line he never meant to draw. My throat tightens. I swallow the confession before it escapes. Not yet, not now. He is too weak, too close to the edge. And I am too afraid. So instead I whisper something safer. Something that will not break the world between us. I'm here, I breathe. And I'm not going anywhere. His fingers shift slightly in mine, the movement gentle and slow. I tell myself it is enough, that I can wait. That the truth can live inside me a little longer. But deep down, a part of me knows I am lying to myself. Every moment with him feels like sand slipping through my hands. Every breath he takes feels like a borrowed miracle. A soft knock sounds at the door. I lift my head, startled, and see a woman stepping inside with a paper cup in her hand. She looks around 40, with tired eyes and a kind smile. You must be MIA, she says softly. I nod, unsure who she is, my fingers tightening around Caleb's hand. I'm Dr. Ellis, she explains. I've been overseeing his case since early morning. Her gaze shifts to Caleb, then to our joined hands, but she says nothing about it. For that, I'm grateful. She steps closer, glancing at the monitors. He's stable for now, she says quietly. But his body is exhausted. He'll need time, a lot of time. My chest tightens. How much? I ask, my voice shaking. She hesitates. Days. Maybe weeks. We'll have to see how he responds. I look at him again. Even in rest, he looks like someone holding onto the edge of a cliff. Every breath feels like a small victory. If you want, the doctor continues, you can talk to him. People in his condition often find comfort in familiar voices. I nod again. I have been talking to him for hours, but nothing feels enough. Not for the things I want to say. Not for the things I am too afraid to say. The doctor leaves the room, and silence fills the space she left behind. I lean closer to him, brushing my thumb along the side of his hand. Do you remember, I whisper, the night we watched that storm from the balcony? The memory hits me like a warm wind, bittersweet and vivid. It was late past midnight. Rain was pouring so hard it looked like the sky was falling apart. Thunder echoed through the city, lightning flashing behind the buildings. I was 13, scared but trying not to show it. He found me sitting on the cold floor, knees pulled to my chest. You're still awake? He asked softly. I shrugged, pretending the storm didn't bother me. He didn't believe it. He sat beside me, close but not too close, his presence warm and steady. After a moment he said, You know, storms always end. I remember looking at him, confused. The loud ones, he added with a small smile, are usually the shortest. I didn't believe him. not then. But he stayed with me until the sky grew quiet, until the thunder faded, until I fell asleep against his shoulder without realizing it. Now, sitting by his hospital bed, I close my eyes and breathe out painfully. I wish he could tell me that again. I wish he could promise that this storm will end too. I open my eyes slowly and look at him. His chest rises and falls with weak, trembling breaths. His lips are slightly parted, as if he is trying to speak even in sleep. I bring my free hand to my mouth, holding back a sob. I should have told you, I whisper. I should have said something before it got this far. My voice cracks, but I keep going. It wasn't supposed to happen, I know that. I know you just wanted to give me a home, a life, a chance. But somewhere along the way you became the one thing I couldn't let go of. A tear slips down my cheek, falling onto our joined hands. I don't bother to wipe it. You've always been the person I ran to, I whisper. And now I'm terrified of losing you before I ever told you why. His fingers twitch again, stronger this time. Not accidental, not weak. A small, deliberate movement. I freeze. My breath catches. I look up at his face, searching for the slightest sign that he is waking. His eyelids twitch. His mouth moves. His head shifts just barely on the pillow. Caleb? I whisper, leaning closer, hope and fear tangled inside me. His breathing changes rhythm, still shallow but faster. His throat moves as if he is trying to swallow. His eyebrows pull together in a faint, pained expression. Then his lips part again, and this time a word escapes. A broken, fragile word that makes my heart jump. Don't. I lean even closer, my heart pounding in my ears. Don't what? I whisper. I'm here. Talk to me, please. His lips tremble. Another breath, another struggle. Then don't. Leave. The air leaves my lungs in a rush. Tears fill my eyes instantly. I'm not leaving, I whisper fiercely. Never. You hear me? I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. His fingers tighten around mine, weak but intentional. A soft, broken sound escapes his throat. I brush my other hand gently along his arm, my voice trembling. You scared me so much, I whisper. I thought I lost you. My voice breaks before I finish the sentence. His breathing steadies slightly. His eyelids flutter, opening just a fraction enough for me to see the color beneath. Blurry but real. Alive. Mia. He breathes again, voice rough like gravel. I lean so close I can feel his breath on my cheek. I'm here, I say again, softer. I'm here. His eyes open a little wider, still unfocused, but searching for me. The sight hits me so hard I feel my knees weaken. His lips move again, forming a shape I recognize instantly. A word I never expected him to say in this moment. A word that freezes my heart mid-beat. Why? Crying? A broken laugh slips out of me, mixed with a sob I can't control. Because you scared me, I whisper, brushing a tear from my cheek. And because I stopped myself. Not now, not while he is barely awake. Not while his body is still fighting. But he blinks slowly, still holding my hand, still searching my face as if trying to understand something hidden beneath my silence. And for the first time, I see it. A flicker of something in his eyes. Something soft. Something familiar. Something that mirrors the feeling I have carried alone for years. But before I can speak, before I can breathe, his eyes close again from exhaustion, his body falling back into fragile sleep. His hand stays in mine, and the truth stays trapped inside me, growing heavier, sharper, louder, waiting for the moment it finally breaks free. When his eyes close again, the room becomes painfully quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that fills every corner, every breath, every thought. I sit there with his hand inside mine, afraid to let go, afraid that if I move even a little, the fragile thread keeping him here will break. His breathing is slow but steady. He is alive. He is here. For now, that is the only truth that keeps me from falling apart. My thumb brushes the back of his hand in small circles, the movement gentle, as if I'm afraid of waking him. Or maybe I'm afraid he won't wake again. I don't know anymore. I lean back in the chair, my body heavy with exhaustion. I haven't slept in almost a full day, but I can't close my eyes, not even for a second. What if he needs me? What if he opens his eyes and I'm not here? What if he wakes and forgets everything? My heartbeat quickens at the thought. The idea of him waking without knowing me, without recognizing my voice, without remembering the life we shared, it breaks something deep inside me. I tighten my grip on his hand. "I'm right here," I whisper again because I need to say it as much as he needs to hear it. The hospital light above flickers softly, casting long shadows on the white walls. The air is cold enough that my fingers feel numb, but I don't let go. I rest my forehead against the back of his hand, letting my breath settle. As I sit there, more memories rise slowly at first, then like a flood. The day we painted the living room. It was supposed to take a few hours, but it took 2 full days because we were both terrible at it. He let me pick the color, even though I chose something too bright, too warm, too bold. When I apologized for the mess, he laughed and said, "It's just paint, kid. We can fix it." I remember the softness in his voice, the tired smile on his face, the way he looked at me like I mattered. Another memory follows one I have not allowed myself to revisit in years. I was 17. He had picked me up from a school event after my teacher called him. I wasn't in trouble. I had just broken down, overwhelmed, scared, tired of pretending I was strong. When I got into the car, he didn't say anything. He didn't ask questions. He just drove. Halfway home, he pulled over on a quiet street and turned off the engine. He looked at me with eyes that saw too much. "You don't have to be okay all the time," he said softly. I tried to hold back the tears, but I couldn't. They came fast, hot, uncontrollable. He reached out then, not to touch me, not to pull me close, but to rest his hand on the space between us. Close enough for me to take if I wanted. Far enough not to push me. After a long moment, I reached out and placed my hand on top of his. Our fingers didn't interlock. We didn't hold each other. But it felt like the most intimate moment of my life. That night, lying awake in my bed, I realized the truth that terrified me. I wasn't looking at him the way I was supposed to, and my heart was too far gone to take it back. A soft sound escapes my lips as the memory fades, a quiet, aching sigh. I look at him again, older now, worn down by years of carrying weight that no one else saw. I brush a loose strand of hair from his forehead, letting my fingertips graze his skin. He doesn't stir, but his breathing deepens slightly, as if he feels my presence even in sleep. I whisper, "You were always there for me, even when I didn't know how to ask." Someone enters the room quietly. I look up and see a nurse approaching, holding a small tablet. Her steps are soft, careful, respectful. She checks the monitors, nods to herself, then turns to me with a gentle smile. "He's resting well," she says. "It's a good sign." I exhale shakily. "Does that mean he'll wake up soon?" She hesitates, not in a bad way, but in a cautious, honest way. "He might. Or he might sleep for several more hours. His body needs time to heal." I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Thank you." She offers a warm look before stepping away. "If you need anything, just press the button near the bed." When she leaves, the room feels quieter than before. I turn my attention back to him, letting my fingers trace the outline of his knuckles. I whisper softly, "Do you remember the night I left?" The memory comes like a wound reopening. I was 19, too young, too confused, too full of feelings I didn't know how to control. I packed a small suitcase while he was at work, left a note on the kitchen counter. I remember standing in the doorway staring at the empty living room. It felt wrong to walk away. It felt like tearing the world in half, but I thought leaving would fix everything. I thought distance would make my feelings fade. I thought I was doing the right thing. That night, he called me 5 times. I didn't answer. He texted, "Are you safe? Please tell me where you are. I'm not angry. I just need to know you're okay." I didn't respond to any of them because if I did, I knew I would go back. And I was scared of what that meant. For months, I avoided him. I sent short messages, cold ones, just enough so he wouldn't worry. But we didn't see each other. And every day without him felt like missing a piece of myself. It wasn't until last year that I finally gathered the courage to see him again. I remember the moment he opened the door. The shock in his eyes, the relief, the hurt he tried to hide. He asked, "How long are you staying?" And I said the first thing that came to my heart. As long as you want me to. Now, in this hospital room with his life hanging in the balance, those memories suffocate me. I lift his hand to my lips and press a soft kiss to his knuckles. I'm sorry I left, I whisper against his skin. I thought distance would save us, but it only broke me. My voice cracks. I should have stayed. I should have told you. I should have. The words stop when his hand moves, not weakly, not by accident, but slowly curling around mine with intention. My breath catches. I look up. His eyelids flutter, then lift, just barely, but enough. His gaze is hazy, unfocused, but searching. And then, for one impossible moment, his eyes meet mine. A faint, strained whisper escapes his lips. Mia, don't cry. My heart breaks open. I choke on a sob. I can't help it, I whisper. You keep trying to leave me. His eyebrows pull together slightly like he wants to understand my pain. His lips move again, forming a single word, one that sends a tremor through my entire body. Stay. I nod instantly, tears falling freely. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. He exhales, his shoulders softening, his body relaxing as if my voice is enough to keep him grounded. His eyes drift closed again, but this time something is different. He looks peaceful, safe, like he is not fighting anymore, like he trusts me to hold what he cannot. And as I watch him slip back into sleep, I feel it. The truth rising in my chest, loud enough to shake my bones, sharp enough to cut through every fear I ever had. I cannot hold this silence much longer. I cannot carry this love alone anymore. The storm inside me is reaching its breaking point. One way or another, he will hear the truth. And when he does, everything between us will change forever. His breathing settles into a slow, calm rhythm, and for a moment, I allow myself to believe that the worst has passed. But inside me, nothing feels calm. The quiet in the room only makes the storm in my chest louder, stronger, harder to ignore. I sit there, still holding his hand, staring at his sleeping face. Every line, every shadow, every detail feels burned into me. And I realize something that scares me more than anything else. If I lose him, there will be nothing left of me. A soft breeze slips through the door as someone in the hallway walks by, and it chills my skin. I pull his blanket up a little higher, careful not to disturb him. My fingers linger near his shoulder, afraid to touch him too long, afraid the warmth will make my feelings even harder to hide. The nurse steps in again quietly. Her shoes barely make a sound on the floor. She checks the monitors, typing something into her tablet. After a moment, she looks at me with soft eyes. You should eat something, she says gently. You've been here for many hours. I shake my head. I'm not hungry. She hesitates, her gaze moving from me to Caleb. There's a cafeteria downstairs. Or I can bring you something light. I brush my thumb across the side of his hand and whisper, I don't want to leave him. She nods slowly, understanding more than she says. All right, I'll bring you some water at least. When she leaves, the room falls silent again. I look at Caleb's chest rising and falling, each breath soft and fragile like a whisper. Hours ago I thought he might die. Now he looks almost peaceful. And I feel the weight of all the things I haven't said pressing against my ribs, demanding to be let out. I lean forward, resting my elbows on the edge of the bed. Do you remember, I whisper, the day you bought me that old bookshelf? The memory warms me and hurts me at the same time. It was my 18th birthday. I pretended not to care. Birthdays never meant anything to me, not before him. He came home late, carrying something heavy wrapped in an old blanket. He set it down in the living room and said, It's not new, but I thought you might like it. When I lifted the blanket, I saw the bookshelf old and scratched, the wood uneven, the shelves stained in places. But to me it was beautiful. It was mine, it was from him. And then he handed me a small box with trembling hands. Inside was a second-hand copy of my favorite book. The pages were worn, the cover bent, the spine cracked. But he said, it reminded me of you, a little rough, but full of good things. I didn't know how to breathe for a moment. I didn't know how to say thank you for something that meant more to me than anything I had ever received. That night, I stood in my room holding the book to my chest, and I whispered something into the dark I never meant for anyone to hear. I love him. It was the first time I said it out loud. The truth tasted like sweetness and fear mixed together. A feeling I never escaped. I look at him now, wanting to tell him all of this, wanting to spill every memory, every moment that shaped the love I kept buried. But the door opens again. The nurse returns with a small cup of water and a packet of crackers. I thank her quietly, even though the thought of eating makes my stomach twist. She leaves, and I set the food aside, not feeling strong enough to take a bite. I take a sip of water, and even that feels difficult. I place the cup on the small table beside me and lean closer to him again. "Caleb," I whisper, "I don't know how much longer I can hold this." He doesn't move. But I feel something shift inside me. The fear, the longing, the hope, all pulling me apart. I close my eyes and breathe deeply. "I love you," I whisper in my mind, too afraid to say it out loud. "I've loved you for so long." When I open my eyes, the room seems darker, as if the day outside is drifting into evening. The shadows on the wall grow longer. The beeping of the machines becomes slower, calmer. And suddenly a memory hits me so hard I almost gasp. The night I almost told him. It was last winter. We were sitting on the balcony, wrapped in blankets because the heater had broken again. He was quiet that night, thoughtful, staring at the city lights with a distant look in his eyes. He said, "You're not a kid anymore." The words hit me like a spark. I turned to him, my heart beating too fast. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, looked down, took a long breath. Then he looked at me again, really looked, and something in his eyes made my whole body warm. Something I had seen only once before, years ago. "You've grown into someone. Strong," he said softly. "Someone beautiful." My breath caught. I searched his face for any sign that he was just being polite, just being kind. But I didn't find that. I found something deeper, something careful, something afraid. I whispered, "Caleb." But before I could say another word, before I could cross the distance between us, the neighbor's dog barked loudly. He looked away. The moment vanished, and he stood up, muttering something about needing to fix the heater. That night, I lay awake wondering what he would have said if nothing interrupted us. If I had been brave enough. If I had told him the truth. Now, in this hospital room, I feel the weight of that unfinished moment pressing against me like a bruise that never healed. I look at him and whisper, "We never talked about that night." The silence answers me. The quiet in the room is heavy, full of everything unsaid. I let out a slow breath. "I should have told you then. I should have told you before I left. Before everything got complicated. Before you got hurt." His hand shifts again, this time more firmly. I feel his fingers curl around mine with purpose. Not by accident. Not in sleep, but because he wants to. My heart jumps. I lean forward quickly. "Caleb?" His eyelids flutter slowly. His breathing changes, becoming uneven, like he's trying to pull himself to the surface of consciousness. I squeeze his hand gently, but firmly. "I'm here," I say quickly, my voice trembling. "Can you hear me?" His lips part. A broken sound escapes. Then, "Mia." His voice is weak, but it's real, alive. I breathe in sharply. "Yes, I'm here," I whisper. "I'm right here." He swallows, his throat moving slowly. His eyes open halfway, blurry, fighting the weight of exhaustion. But he is awake. Awake enough to see me. Awake enough to speak. He looks at me like he's trying to remember something important. His lips tremble. He breathes in softly. Then he whispers the words that make the world tilt under my feet. Words I never expected to hear from him in this moment. Words that break me open and pull me together at the same time. "Don't be scared." My eyes fill instantly. A soft sob escapes me. "How can I not be?" I whisper. "You almost left me." He tries to raise his hand to touch me, but he's too weak. So I bring his hand to my cheek instead, pressing it there, feeling the warmth of his skin against my tears. His eyes drift, slow and heavy, but he keeps them open just enough to look at me. To really look. Then he whispers something even quieter, something so soft I almost think I imagined it. "I'm here because of you." A tear falls onto his hand, another. My heart cracks open wider than ever. I press my forehead against his and whisper through shaking breaths, "Then stay. Please, Stay. He exhales shakily. His fingers grip mine weakly. His eyes close slowly. Not unconscious, just tired, exhausted, but alive. He drifts back into sleep, holding my hand tightly as if letting go might pull him away from me again. I rest my head beside him, our hands still joined, and breathe through the ache in my chest. Because now I know the truth. The moment is coming. The moment when I will finally have to tell him everything. And when that happens, nothing in our world will ever be the same. The next hours slip by slowly, like water dripping one painful drop at a time. I don't move from his side. I barely blink. Every rise of his chest, every faint exhale, every tiny shift of his fingers feels like the whole world to me. The lights in the hallway dim as night settles in. The hospital grows quieter, the echoes of hurried footsteps fading into soft murmurs and distant beeps. A long, dark stillness covers everything except the storm inside my chest. I look at him, sleeping with a fragile peace on his face. His eyelashes cast small shadows on his cheeks. His lips, pale and dry, part slightly every time he breathes. His hand rests inside mine, warm, real, alive. And for the first time since he collapsed, I let myself exhale without shaking. But the calm doesn't last. Because the longer I sit here, the more the truth inside me claws against my ribs. It wants to come out. It wants to shatter the silence between us. It wants to breathe. I look down at our joined hands and whisper, "If you knew, would you still want me here?" The question hangs in the air unanswered. The soft buzz of machines is the only reply. I close my eyes and let my thoughts drift, back to a memory I have tried to bury more times than I can count. The night everything almost changed. I had just turned 20. I came home late after working an extra shift. The apartment was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavier than noise. The living room light was on. He was sitting on the couch, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together. He was waiting for me. "Mia," he said, and my heart flipped because he only said my name like that when he was worried or angry. But he didn't look angry. He looked confused, lost, like he was fighting with something inside him. I remember my breath catching. "What's wrong?" He looked at me for a long moment, his eyes moving across my face like he was searching for answers he couldn't ask. Then he stood up, walked toward me slowly, stopped just a step away. I could feel the heat from his body. I could smell the soap on his skin. I could see the tired lines around his eyes. He lifted a hand, hesitated, then tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. My heart nearly burst out of my chest. I forgot how to breathe, forgot how to think, forgot every reason I ever told myself that what I felt was wrong. His fingers brushed my cheek, soft, careful, too careful. "Mia," he whispered, voice low, rough, shaking a little. "We need to talk." I froze. Everything inside me froze, because I knew what he wanted to talk about. The tension between us had been getting thicker for months, the glances that lingered too long, the silences that felt too heavy, the moments that almost became something more. I swallowed hard. "Okay," I whispered. He took a step back, dragging a hand over his face. Whatever is happening, it's not simple." My chest tightened. He was right. Nothing about us had ever been simple. But the way he said it, so careful, so controlled, made fear curl inside me. "I know," I said softly. He looked at me again, his expression shifting between wanting to speak and wanting to run. Then he whispered, "You mean a lot to me." My heart jumped. I waited. I prayed, begged inside for him to say what I was too afraid to say first. But then, a sudden noise from the hallway made both of us turn our heads. A knock on the neighbor's door. Voices, footsteps, a reminder that the world was still there. Watching, judging, ready to misunderstand. He stepped back like he'd been burned. The warmth between us disappeared. He cleared his throat. His voice changed, became stiff, distant, guarded. "We shouldn't do this now," he said quietly. "Should talk later." But later never came. I avoided him for days after that. He avoided me too. We moved around each other like strangers carrying secrets that were too heavy to drop, and then, months later, I left. Now, sitting here in this cold hospital room, that memory hits me with all the force it had the first time. It makes my chest ache. It makes my eyes sting. It makes my whole body tremble. I should have let you finish, I whisper. I should have told you, My voice breaks before I can say the word. Love, the one truth I never allowed myself to speak. Just then, footsteps echo softly outside. The door opens, and Dr. Ellis steps inside. She looks at Caleb first, then at me. How is he? I ask, my voice raspy. She approaches the bed, checking the monitors with practiced calm. He's holding steady. That's a very good sign. Relief loosens my shoulders, even if only a little. But then her voice turns gentle. Too gentle. You should rest too, Mia. I shake my head. No, I'm not leaving him. She watches me for a moment. Her eyes soften, but there's a hint of something else there. Something like understanding, or maybe recognition. Like she sees the truth I've been hiding. She places a hand on my arm. You care about him very much. My heart stops. I look away quickly. I owe him everything. That's not what I meant, she says softly. I freeze. My breath gets stuck somewhere between my chest and my throat. Before she can say another word, the monitor beside Caleb lets out a small, sharp beep. Not dangerous, just a change. But it makes me jump to my feet instantly. His breathing shifts, a soft inhale, deeper than the last. A slow exhale that trembles slightly. His fingers tighten around mine. I lean closer, my heart racing. Caleb? His eyelids twitch. His eyebrows pull together in a faint expression of discomfort. He turns his head just slightly toward my voice. Mia. His voice is rough, strained, thin as paper. But it is real, alive, and speaking my name. I squeeze his hand and tears blur my vision. Yes, I'm here, I'm right here. His lips part again, slowly, like he is fighting the weight of exhaustion. He tries to open his eyes but only manages halfway. Still his gaze finds me, confused, soft, searching. Then he whispers something that makes my whole world stop. You. Left. The words hit like a knife. I feel them cut through every wall I ever built. My throat tightens, my heart pounds painfully. I know, I whisper, my voice trembling. I shouldn't have, I'm so sorry. He swallows with effort. His fingers tremble around mine. Why? The question is weak, but it carries years of hurt inside it. Years of not knowing. Years of silence. I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. How can I explain something I barely understood myself, but he is waiting? His eyes are half open, half closed, fading in and out of consciousness. He may fall asleep any second. He may forget the moment when he wakes. This might be the only chance I ever get. I lean closer, my forehead almost touching his. And in a voice barely above a breath, I whisper the truth that has been locked inside me for so many years. I left because I loved you. His breath catches. His fingers tense around mine. His eyes widen just slightly. Surprise, shock, disbelief before exhaustion drags them closed again. The machines continue their quiet beeping. The room grows still. And I sit there, heart pounding, realizing the silence is finally broken. And nothing will ever be the same. For a long moment after the words leave my mouth, the room feels unreal, like the air is holding its breath. Like the walls heard a secret they were never meant to know. I sit frozen beside him, my confession still ringing in my ears, louder than the machines, louder than my heartbeat. I left because I loved you. I finally said it. After years of silence, after years of fighting myself, the truth is out. But he's asleep again. His eyelids rest softly against his cheeks, his breathing slow and fragile, as if my words reached him only at the edge of consciousness. I watch his face, searching for any sign that he heard me, understood me, trusted the truth I whispered. But he doesn't move. He looks peaceful, too peaceful for the storm I just unleashed. My hand is still inside his and I can feel the faint warmth of his skin. I trace the back of his knuckles gently, my voice barely a breath. I didn't mean to fall for you. I just did. And when I realized it, I panicked. I didn't know how to stay without hurting you. A tear slips down my cheek. Another. I don't wipe them anymore. I let them fall onto our joined hands like small apologies that arrived too late. I thought distance would help, I whisper. I thought if I left, the feelings would fade. But they only grew. Every day, every month, every year. My voice trembles, but I can't stop. The truth has waited too long. Now it pours out of me like water from a cracked glass. And when I came back, I wanted to tell you. I tried. I tried so many times, but whenever I opened my mouth, the fear stopped me. I bite my lip. The memory of last winter flashes through my mind, his hand brushing my hair, his eyes searching mine, the words stuck between us. We were so close to crossing a line neither of us knew how to face. I saw it in your eyes that night, I whisper. You felt something too, didn't you? The silence feels like an answer and a question at the same time. I lean closer, brushing my fingertips gently along his arm. I'm not asking you to say anything now. I know you're tired. I know your body is fighting. I take a deep breath, steadying myself, but when you wake, I need you to hear me. Really hear me. His breathing shifts, not in distress, not in struggle, but in a soft, calm rhythm that makes my heart ache. He looks peaceful now, and I wonder how many nights he went to sleep carrying a weight he never shared. A nurse enters quietly with a blanket, placing it on my shoulders without a word. I realize only then how cold I am, how long I've been sitting here, trembling without noticing. Try to rest, she whispers gently. I can't, I whisper back. She nods, like she expected that answer, and leaves without pushing me further. I settle deeper into the chair, pulling the blanket closer. The dim hospital light casts a soft glow on his face. His chest rises and falls with steady, fragile breaths. Every one of them feels like a gift. I watch him for minutes, maybe hours, without realizing how much time has passed. My eyes burn, my shoulders ache, my heart feels bruised from beating too hard, but I stay, I don't move, not even when fatigue pulls at my eyelids. I place my free hand gently over my heart, feeling its fast, uneven rhythm. You've always been the one person I couldn't walk away from, I whisper. And the one person I tried the hardest to stay away from. The contradiction breaks me all over again. I let out a trembling sigh. I loved you in silence because I didn't know if loving you out loud would destroy everything. He shifts in his sleep, a soft movement, barely there, and his fingers tighten around mine. Just slightly. Just enough to make my breath catch. Caleb. His eyelids flutter, but they don't open. A faint sound escapes his throat, something caught between a sigh and a whisper. I lean closer, my lips near his ear. You're not alone, I breathe. You'll never be alone again. I promise. The room settles into a soft calm, the quiet deeper than before. It feels like a pause, a moment suspended between the life we had and the one waiting for us. Hours blur. Night shifts to a pale morning light creeping through the window. I'm still awake, still holding his hand, still watching. And then, just when I think he'll sleep through the sunrise, he inhales sharply, turning his head slightly toward me. His eyebrows pulled together as though he's fighting his way back to consciousness. My whole body tenses. I sit forward, heart pounding. Caleb? His lips part. He breathes out slowly. Then with a fragile effort, his eyes open, halfway, glassy, confused. But they find me. They see me. And for a moment, nothing else in the world exists. He swallows weakly, his throat moving with effort. Mia. His voice is hoarse, barely a whisper, but it hits me like thunder. I squeeze his hand gently. I'm here, I whisper. I haven't left. He blinks slowly, his gaze struggling to focus. Then he whispers something that sends a shock through me. Something raw, fragile, terrified. You meant it? My breath stops. My heart stumbles. He heard me. He heard everything. I lean closer, my voice shaking. Yes, I breathe. Every word. His chest rises in a trembling breath relief, pain, fear. I can't tell. But then his hand tightens around mine with a strength he hasn't had in days. His lips move slowly, painfully, shaping words he has held inside just as long as I held mine. Mia, But his voice breaks. His eyelids flutter shut from the effort. His hand loosens slightly. He falls back into exhausted sleep, leaving the sentence unfinished, leaving me suspended in a moment that feels like the edge of everything. I sit there with my heart pounding and a truth glowing painfully inside me. He wanted to answer. He tried to answer. He wasn't running from the confession, he was reaching for it. And when he wakes again, when he has the strength, I know his next words will change both of our lives forever. Morning light slowly fills the hospital room, soft and pale, brushing over his face like a gentle hand. It makes the shadows under his eyes look deeper, but it also makes him look more alive, more here, more mine. I sit exactly where I've been for hours, my fingers still tangled with his, afraid to loosen my grip even for a moment. My whole body aches from the long night, my neck stiff, my back sore, my eyes burning, but none of it matters. All that matters is him. All that matters is that he opened his eyes. He tried to speak. He tried to answer my confession. He tried to reach for something between us that has been silent for years, but his body couldn't keep up. He fell back into sleep before the words were born, yet the look in his eyes, that soft, breaking look, is carved into me now. He heard me. He knows. He knows. I sit up straighter, brushing a tear from my cheek even though it's already dry. I take a deep breath, slow and careful, trying to steady the shaking inside me. The door opens quietly and a different nurse walks in, a man with gentle eyes and tired shoulders. He gives me a small smile. "You stayed all night," he says softly. I nod. I wasn't going to leave him. He studies me for a moment, then glances at our joined hands. There is no judgment in his eyes, just understanding. Maybe pity. Maybe respect. I'm too tired to tell the difference. "We're going to run a few tests this morning," he says, adjusting one of the monitors. He's stable, which is good. Very good. But he'll wake in and out for a while. My chest tightens. I'll be here when he does. He nods. I figured. He leaves the room, the door clicking softly behind him. I look at Caleb again. The morning light touches his face gently, catching in the strands of his hair. He looks softer now, almost vulnerable. Almost like the younger version of him I used to watch quietly from the hallway, my heart too full for a girl who didn't understand what she was feeling. I lift his hand and press it slowly against my cheek. "You asked if I meant it," I whisper. "I did. I do. I always will." My voice grows softer. When I walked away, it wasn't because I wanted distance from you. It was because every day with you made the truth harder to hide. I swallow hard. It hurt to love you in silence, but it hurt even more to imagine that you could never feel the same. The words tremble on my tongue, but I keep going. You were my home. You still are. For a moment, I let the room fall into silence again. It feels heavy but not cold. Not like the silence of all those years. This silence feels like the quiet before a truth finally blooms. He shifts slightly in his sleep. A soft turn of the head, a small tightening of his fingers around mine, and my heart leaps even at that tiny movement. I lean closer, brushing a hand along his arm. I never told you this, but the day I left, I almost turned back. The memory rises with painful clarity. I was standing on the bus with my suitcase at my feet. The city blurred past the window as the bus pulled away from our street. And with every passing second, with every click of the wheels on the road, something inside me screamed to go back. I remember gripping the cold metal pole, my knuckles white. I remember whispering, "Please let me forget him," like a prayer I didn't believe. But I never forgot him. Not once. Not for a second. I dropped my forehead gently to the side of his hand now, the whisper of my memory warming the space between us. "You never left my mind, Caleb, not for a minute." My voice cracks, but I don't stop. "And when I came back, you looked at me like I was someone you didn't know how to hold anymore. Like I hurt you, but you didn't want me to carry the guilt." I lift my head slowly, studying his peaceful face. Was afraid to tell you how I felt. Afraid you'd push me away. Afraid you'd see me differently. I brush my thumb across the back of his hand again, slow and steady. But now I know the one thing I fear more than losing you is not telling you the truth when you wake. The door opens softly again. Dr. Ellis steps inside this time, holding a chart and wearing her usual calm expression. But when she sees me, pale, exhausted, trembling slightly, her eyes soften. "You didn't sleep," she says gently. I shake my head. I couldn't. She approaches the bed and checks the monitors, adjusting a few wires. After a moment, she turns to me. He's improving. Very slowly but steadily. He'll wake again soon. My heart stutters. Soon? She nods. His body needs rest, but his mind is trying to wake. That's a good sign. I sink deeper into the chair, my hand never leaving his. When she steps out again, the door closing softly behind her, the room feels brighter somehow. The weight in my chest loosens a little. I look at him again, and for the first time in hours, I let myself smile. Small, soft, full of trembling hope. You're coming back to me, I whisper. And when you do, I'll tell you everything. No more silence. No more fear. But just as I let myself exhale, his fingers twitch stronger this time. Not weak, not accidental, not sleep. My breath catches. I sit up straight. His eyebrows pull together, his lips part, his throat moves. Mia. The sound is clear this time, weak but real. Awake. I grip his hand gently. Yes, I'm here. His eyelids lift. Slowly, painfully, but they open. Fully. His gaze meets mine. Not confused, not lost, but aware. Focused. Searching. My heart stops. Because for the first time, he's truly awake. And he's looking at me like he remembers everything. Like he heard every word I whispered in the dark. Like he sees me, all of me, his fingers tighten around mine with surprising strength. He weights his lips, his breathing uneven but determined. Mia. I lean in, my forehead inches from his, my heart pounding so loud I can barely breathe. And in a quiet, shaking voice, he whispers, "Don't go." My eyes fill instantly. I'm not going anywhere, I breathe. Not ever. Then he swallows slowly, painfully, and begins to speak again. Mia, I need to tell you something. His voice trembles. His eyes shine. His grip tightens. And I know his truth is finally coming. The truth I've waited years to hear. The truth that will change everything. His words hang in the air between us, trembling and unfinished, and I feel my entire world tilt toward him. I lean closer, close enough to feel the warmth of his breath on my cheek, close enough to hear the faint tremor in each shallow inhale. My heart is beating so loudly it feels impossible that he doesn't hear it too. He closes his eyes for a second, gathering strength, and when he opens them again, there is something raw and fragile inside his gaze, something I've only seen in my own reflection on the nights I cried for him. Mia, he whispers, his voice thin but determined. Listen. I'm listening, I breathe, my voice breaking. I'm right here. He swallows slowly, painfully, and lifts our joined hands a fraction of an inch. Just that small movement makes something deep inside me shiver. You didn't leave because you didn't care, he says, fighting for each word. You left because you cared too much. My breath catches, he remembers, he heard, he understands. He takes another shaky breath, his fingers tightening around mine. And I've pushed you away before you ever walked out that door. I shake my head immediately. No, you didn't. But he interrupts me with the smallest shake of his head, his voice strained with regret. Yes, I did. He tries to shift but winces, and I place my hand gently on his chest to keep him still. He looks at me, tired but unwavering. That night he whispers, when I said we needed to talk. When I got close, I wanted to say something. I wanted to tell you something I shouldn't have felt. My heart stops. My pulse stutters. My fingers grow cold. He sees my reaction, and a small, fragile smile touches the corner of his lips. I cared for you, he continues. More than I should have. More than I was allowed to. A tear slips down my cheek, trembling. He watches it fall, and his expression softens. Something warm, something aching. That night, he whispers, when I touched your hair. I almost said the words. My breath shakes out of me. What words? He looks directly into my eyes, and for the first time, there is no hesitation, no fear, no silence. I loved you. The world stops. Everything inside me breaks open. Shock, relief, pain, hope, all rushing toward me like a wave I've waited years to drown in. My lips part, but no sound comes out. He keeps going, his voice breaking in the most beautiful way. I loved you before I should have. I loved you in ways I didn't know how to handle, and I thought, if I said it out loud, his breath trembles. You'd lose the only safe place you had. A sob escapes Marat, sharp, unstoppable. I lift his hand to my face, pressing my cheek against his palm. You were never just safety, I whisper. You were everything. His eyes close for a moment, like my words fill him with both relief and pain. When he opens them again, they shine in the morning light. I thought pushing you away would protect you, he whispers. I told myself you deserved someone younger, someone better, someone who wasn't broken. A tear rolls down his temple. Not mine, his. My heart cracks at the sight. You weren't broken, I say softly. You were the only person who ever showed me what love looks like. He exhales, shaky and slow. That's why it hurt when you left. I thought I lost you forever. I shake my head, brushing his cheek with trembling fingers. You never lost me. Not for a day, not for a second. He studies my face with a depth that makes my chest tighten. He searches my eyes like he's trying to find all the missing years inside them. Then, with all the strength he has left, he whispers, I love you, Mia. The world collapses and rebuilds in the same breath. Tears spill down my cheeks, hot and unstoppable. I lean forward until our foreheads touch, our breaths mingling, our hands still joined over his heart. I love you too, I whisper. I've loved you for so long. His breath catches, a small broken sound of relief that makes my own heart ache. I didn't want to say it this way, he murmurs weakly. In a hospital bed, barely able to talk. But I had to. I couldn't let you carry it alone anymore. I let out a trembling laugh between tears. It doesn't matter where you say it. It only matters that it's real. He smiles, a tired, fragile, beautiful smile. The kind of smile I've only seen a few rare times in my life. I'm not going anywhere, I whisper. Not now, not ever. His eyes grow heavy again, sleep pulling him back gently, softly. But this time, as he slips away, he keeps his fingers wrapped around mine, not weak, not loose, but firm, certain, chosen. And as the machines hum quietly around us, as the morning light grows brighter and warmer, I realize something I never dared believe before. He didn't just come back to life, he came back to me. And this time neither of us will ever love in silence again.